Hello. Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's Mystical Mondays, and I'm Cheryl. I'm here with my dear best friend, Marybe. We're going to talk about Leo season and the Lionsgate energy coming up. Marybe's birthday is next week, so happy early birthday. This is Marybe, everybody.
Hi guys, I'm Marybe. Nice to meet you and thank you for the happy birthday. I'm a little nervous.
It's okay. All right. So, one of the first things that I really want to talk to you about is being a Leo. We're in Leo season. Coming up is the Lion's Gate. And then we, of course, have the full moon in Aquarius, which is opposite Leo, right? But all this Leo energy, how are you experiencing it right now? How are you feeling more Leo than usual?
But
Okay.
I feel like more than anything, I'm feeling a lot of strength, a lot of passion. Okay, hold on. Let me think about this.
Okay.
I don't know, Cheryl. Strength.
Okay.
I feel like my strength and my passion is definitely heightened when it's my season, just because I really embrace being a Leo. I feel like we're the best, but I think that's just something that all Leos say.
She's not biased at all.
I just feel like very fiery and very passionate, and I feel like definitely around my birthday is when I try to do things that I want to do, like goals and stuff like that. I try to accomplish, if not start working on things that I want for the year ahead. So I feel like that's when I feel like I guess my inner Leo come out is when I'm working or doing things towards who I want to be and I'm passionate about it. So I would say that for sure.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, with that, I'm curious. Leos can also be a little bit shy, right? Do you feel that heightened during the season as well?
I feel like I'm shy a lot of times, but I act like I'm not. I feel like that's something that we've actually talked about that people don't know about Leos is that we are shy. And I feel like a lot of the times we hide that by being confident or making that joke or something like that. But I do feel like I'm shy. Even though if I smile or I look like I'm happy or not, and I'm outgoing, deep down I might be like, oh my God, like I don't know what I'm doing, or I'll be like freaking out and like double guessing like whatever I'm doing.
Okay.
So I do think that I am shy a lot of the time. So yes, I am feeling it while I'm working on things, or like just nervousness or being scared, because I feel like Leos are strong, but we also have I guess fears or like periods of time where we're not sure of stuff, just like going back to that, not always being super confident, I guess.
Thank you for sharing because that was very vulnerable. Did it make you feel a little bit uncomfortable to share?
Yes, I don't like to tell people that I'm not confident or I'm not comfortable in situations because I feel like I try to project that I'm super cool and just the best. You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
I know, I know, but like I don't always feel that
I get it.
way.
You are very cool, Marybe, and I appreciate you as a friend that you shared so vulnerably.
Yeah, I don't like anyone to know that I'm uncomfortable because a lot of the time I'm like super bubbly, super outgoing, and I'm super confident. But sometimes inside I'm feeling like unsure or scared, or there's a lot of people watching me, and it's like I gotta keep smiling, but deep down I'm just like not having it and I'm panicking and probably having anxiety. So I definitely don't like to tell people that because I always try to fake the funk, even if I'm not really feeling it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's very vulnerable and very honest, right? And it's hard to admit sometimes that we don't always let that vulnerable part of us show. But I think it's really important for everybody to understand that we're all human and we all have traits that go both ways, right? That confidence, the other side of that comes sometimes the shyness and maybe a little bit of insecurities, right? So we just need to be mindful because we never know what side somebody's working on, right? With that, I'm really curious. When did you start learning about astrology?
I started learning about astrology when I was in sixth grade because I had a group of friends and then we all had birthdays on the same month and we would all say we were Leos. And then we had one of our friends who fell like I think on the 23rd of August. So she was a Virgo. So she's the one that kind of told all of us like, no, there's other signs on that month. So that's kind of when I started looking at my sign. And then as I got older and in high school, that's when I started reading about all the other signs. So that's kind of how I knew about them. So I feel like I've always asked people like what your sign is, and because I would read the traits of those signs, I would tell them, "Oh, you're like this or you're like that." And some people agreed, some people didn't. And later is when I found out like about sun, moon, rising, and all the other planets.
And as you did when you started learning about your own birth chart and the energies that are in your birth chart, I find it fascinating that, as we said, and I've had the privilege and the honor to be able to read your birth chart, and we've talked about stuff like that. But when you said to me, sometimes I feel more Cancer than Leo, explain that for me if you wouldn't
I
mind.
do feel like I'm a Leo, but sometimes I just feel because I have my moon sign Mars, my Venus, and one other planet, but I can't remember right now what planet it is in Cancer. I feel like I'm not always a Leo because I'm more emotional and I tend to cling to things where I think that just in my personal opinion, the Leos that I've came across can let go of things or just really have that I don't care attitude or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas me, I feel like I'm just more emotional. So sometimes I do feel more like a Cancer and I do feel like that comes out more than the Leo. I feel like the Leo comes out when I need it to, like for example, when I'm in the spotlight or I mean, like certain traits, like I like to buy a lot of things or I like to look nice. I like just things that Leo's like,
Okay.
right? Physical things. I feel like that's where my depth comes from the Cancer.
All right, let's talk about all that Cancer energy, right? One of the traits of Cancer is that psychic energy, right? Those psychic abilities. How have you experienced them and how has that played out in your life? I'm really curious about that.
I do feel like my gifts do come from Cancer, so I do feel like I'm an empath because of the Cancer,
Mhm.
and I feel like I also know things because of the Cancer, so I feel like it makes me more deep and more in touch with my emotions to the point where I can feel other people's emotions,
Mhm.
even if I don't want to, which is kind of annoying sometimes. But that's something that I've been working on, so I've been really like cutting people off or just like trying not to attach to the wrong people or feelings and just really having like that discernment that you showed me
Yeah.
of what is good, what is bad, what to keep, what to let go type. So I do feel like my Cancer has a big role in that, but I also think that because Leo is ruled by the heart, that it just makes it stronger and more potent. So I feel like it brings like more emotion too. So
There's a lot of that whole emotional body, right? Like you
yeah.
said, Leo being ruled by the heart. And then all of that Cancer energy with Cancer moon on top of it can go very deep in that emotional realm. So, would you feel comfortable sharing some of the psychic, or when you start really paying attention, that you had some of the things that would be quote unquote psychic or empathic experiences?
I'm gonna start off with like the first like time that I knew was when I was in high school, which I think that is just important because that's just when I kind of started to really like know that I was different or I thought I was crazy because that's what I would say. But
I think most people do when they get to that, right?
so when I was a junior in high school, I used to smoke a lot of weed. I'm gonna be very transparent. I stopped smoking and I started to realize that I could feel or I would know things about how people felt about me. So I thought I was crazy and I secluded myself from everybody. So I would hang out alone. And then I had this teacher in high school who I ran to because this guy didn't like me. And she's like, didn't let me go into her art class. Also, my teacher is a Cancer. I'm not gonna say her name because I don't know if she would let me say her name.
Yeah.
But she hugged me and she's like, and I told her like, oh, I'm crying because so and so doesn't like me. So she looked at me and she hugged me and she was like, what? She's like, Marybe. And I was like, she's like, don't cry. And she's like, you're just more empathetic. And then I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, you just feel more than other people. It's okay. So that was the first time, I guess. And I never hung out with no one after that. I would just be alone all the time because I just literally could feel and it was just too much and I didn't understand what was going on. So I had this boyfriend in high school, which he passed. So I'm also not going to mention his name because I don't think it's appropriate because I couldn't ask him. But I was working and I was driving back home, and I turned two lights before my house, and I was in a blank state of mind, and I reached this bump that's still there whenever I drive on Osborne and 51st. And that's when I snapped out of it and I said, so and so is gonna die. And I braked super hard on my brakes. I called my dad and he told me not to tell anyone because my dad also is very spiritual. So he was like the first person I called, him and his friend. They're like, just don't tell anyone because you're always gonna know good and bad stuff, which I didn't know what that meant. But literally that Friday, was what, oh my God. So he was turning left on that street and he died. So then I thought I was literally, I was like, I'm crazy. I just thought I was psycho at that point. I was like, there's no way that I knew that. So then I went to go see a psychic, which she's no longer there. Her name was Tundra. And she didn't want to read me that day. It was on a Thursday. She didn't want to read me because she taught classes. So I just started crying. And then she's like, I can't not help you. So then she took me to the back. I did not even know this lady. I just went to go see her. And then when we walked in the office, she's like, how long have you known? And I was like, how long have I known what? She's like, that you're an empath. I'm like, what is that? And she's like, that you can feel and know things before they happen. And then I just looked at her and I was like crying all day. And I was like, so I'm not crazy. And she's like, no, you're not crazy. And she hugged me. And then from there on, that's kind of where I saw like psychic people on and off. But then eventually I met Cheryl and I stopped doing that. And I just kind of like started embracing what I knew, and then still working on it though, because obviously there's like still a lot of work left for everyone, I think. But
Yeah.
that's kind of where I stopped like doubting myself and stopped going to go see people to get validation for things I knew or the answers that I already knew. I was just like trying to get confirmation, which I should have had the confidence, which again, I think that's a Leo thing. I'm not always confident in what I feel. And then I guess to like the Cancer, like needing reassurance from other people.
Well,
So
and I think it takes time,
yeah,
right? We call it practicing magic for a reason.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's a lifelong practice. And and I don't mean to imply that being an empath is magical versus somebody else
yeah.
who, you know what I mean, who may think a little bit more logically. But the reference I think that I'm trying to articulate, not very well, is that everything is a learning process, right? And I'm really proud of you as you're working to shed some of that external validation, right? And to validate your own self. So, what are some of the things that you have experienced that gave you confirmation, that
Well,
helped you kind of work with that confidence and build it up to be able to read for people like you have been doing?
I want to say that one is like over the years, even if it's like things that I don't want to know, like good or bad, just it happens and I'm like, oh, I was right and I knew. But then also like when I've given readings, because I'm not like 100% the best, and I was actually talking to Cher about this, is that when I do give my readings, everyone that I give a reading for, like literally maybe weeks or months later tells me like, you're right, like don't ever stop doubting yourself, or like how did you know that? So I feel like being able to tell people that I don't know like nothing about stuff, or if they ask me a question just knowing the answer and I don't know them, has been like a lot of confirmation for me and has given me like more confidence. I still feel like I'm working on that on myself, so I think that's it.
And I think that that's part of it, right? The
Yeah,
process of growing because you're not doing readings every single
yeah,
day, right? Marybe's, is it okay if I say it?
yeah,
She's in school and working towards her nursing degree. So I find it very admirable that you are taking steps to explore that part of you that is a natural part of you, right? And and to be able to work with it instead of deny it exists, because there's a lot of people
yeah,
that deny it
yeah,
exists, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And they don't want anything around it, whether it's because of some kind of maybe religious upbringing, or maybe they have people in their life that are telling them there's no logic behind
yeah,
it, whatever it is, right? And that they have to work through, and that's their journey. But to not let that affect you, and
yeah.
to step into that, I find that a very admirable quality. It's one of the things that I admire about you, besides your Leoness, right? Like, no, seriously, right? I think one of the first things that we ever talked about for me when I think of Leo and the lion, right? The lion represents royalty, right? King of the jungle. When we talked about that, I do see that in you, right? It's not the only part of you that I see, but I do see that in you as it comes through. And I'm proud of you for being as young as you are. Not that you're young, but you're a lot younger than me, dude. I'm just saying, right? Compared to me, you're a lot younger. And I love that about you though. Learning to navigate the energies that you've been given and the energies that play at your age so that hopefully, right? Not everything's going to be roses and sunshine all the friggin' time, right? Life is unfortunately about learning lessons too. And there's going to be challenges, but hopefully it can help make some of that navigation a little bit easier as you go through there. Is it easy for you to give yourself grace and compassion when you are experiencing some of the challenges that life brings?
It's gotten easier, but I feel like at first I was really hard on myself, and I feel like I still can be hard on myself, but I've been trying to change like my negative thoughts. And I also forgot to add, I be having crazy dreams. So I get a lot of messages through
Okay.
my dreams that I forgot to mention, but I do feel like I'm trying to find balance. So I'm still working on it. I feel like I can be my hardest critic though sometimes. So that's definitely like something I'm working on too. That one's hard.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
Right? Your Pisces rising, which I love because that's the magical part, right? The part that really wants quiet time. So I'm curious with all that Cancer energy, the Pisces rising, how does it meet and match your Leo sun that wants to be out in the sunshine, but the Cancer and the Pisces want quiet and calm?
I feel like I get all that outside and social interaction at my job, but then once I'm out of my job, I just want to be home like a lot. So, and if I do go out, it's like very like rare or like once in a while. So, I feel like that's how I balance it by being at home with my daughter. I feel like she's the only person I can take every single day, and everyone else is just kind of like in doses because I do need time to myself. And I feel like people do try to hang out with me a lot, but because I want to just be with myself and like literally at home or with just family, I kind of like limit my time with people. But if they do want me or need me, I will be there. So, and I do feel like because my Pisces and rising, my Pisces is right, and my rising is in Pisces.
I love you, Mary.
They I feel like a big part of my life's purpose through that Pisces rising is to heal people. So I feel like it makes sense for me to be a nurse or to want to help others and feel satisfied in that way. Because I feel like I read it somewhere that Pisces rising's biggest mission in this life is to heal. So I feel like I'm definitely working towards there. Like there's times I feel like I'm a healer and other times that I'm still kind of stuck in the empath. So I feel like I'm trying to like find just elevate all the way through and not be stuck in the empath, just like getting drained or like people taking all my energy, but really like shifting into the healing where I can be around all kinds of energy and it's not just like sucking my life away because I have strong enough boundaries to where it's just not affecting me.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm trying to find balance.
Where's your Saturn in your chart?
My Saturn, I can pull it up. No, I pull it up. I'm trying to figure out. I think it's like in Aries.
Okay.
It's in Aries.
Okay.
It's in my first house in
Okay.
Aries.
Okay. So to be independent.
Is it? Let's double check. I don't know.
Okay.
Let's double check, but
Let's
I'm
double
pretty
check.
sure.
Okay. Right. I have it too. I can pull it up on my phone.
I have it right here. Is it? Wait. Yeah, it's an Aries. Remember,
Okay.
we were talking about
Yes.
going through that.
Yes.
What were you talking about? What is it called? My
Oh,
Saturn
Saturn
return.
return. Jinx.
I'm still going through my Saturn return for the next, I think she said 2 years? 1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
You can usually feel it right within that first
But it's in Pisces right now,
let's
so
see.
it'll be back in me
Yeah.
next month, I think.
Yes.
So scary.
So what have you noticed has it brought to you this far? What learning lessons, what big life lessons? Has there been any big life shifts?
I definitely been cutting off a lot of people, like people that I thought were gonna be very important in my life. I no longer entertain, I no longer talk to. Also like work wise, I feel like it's open new doors, shut them and open them again. So
Okay.
it's been like havoc. So, but I definitely think that in my relationships with people, it's definitely ended things and shown me who like people really are in my life and
Okay.
how they really feel about me.
That's an interesting thing. So, right, what I want to talk about as I what came to mind when you were saying that is understanding that just because we can be considered psychic doesn't mean we fucking know everything, right? And I think that's kind of sometimes the hardest thing to navigate because, well, especially for me, right? I used to be like, I didn't see that coming, or you know what I mean? And I should have, you know what I mean? But when I dropped all that, it's like, okay, I'm still human and I don't want to know everything about everybody. That takes the surprise, right? I don't want to know everything that my life has in store for me, or I wouldn't enjoy it and there would be no surprises. Have you ever experienced anything like that with all your empathetic energy that you have, as psychic as you are, maybe feeling like, oh, I should have known this about that person?
Yeah, especially right now. Not only that, I feel like sometimes we can like block our own truths, or we can just kind of like not listen to ourselves, even though if we know something, we're trying to give someone benefit of the doubt, but and then you still do it. So I feel like
Yes.
for sure, like I've known things and I just don't listen to myself, and I get mad at myself, but at the same time, it's just like a learning experience.
Hmm.
So I definitely do think that I've known, and I just block my own intuition and try to like romanticize things
Yes.
or make them better than what they really are. And it's really like garbage,
Yeah.
literally.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I do. I get it. Right. Because I spent years, I think, of my life doing that. You know what I mean? Or looking for excuses, right? Why I wasn't listening? Because we all have it. This
Yeah.
is how right? I've told you this before. This is how I explain it to my grandkids. Everybody on this planet has hindsight, right? We
Yeah.
all have that voice that says turn left and we go right instead, right? And then afterwards, it's like, oh, fuck, I shouldn't have done that. That's the voice, right? We all have it. We're just not listening to it. And I remember being there in my life and thinking, you know what? I'm gonna start listening. What happens if when I hear that little tiny voice, I go, okay, let's see what happens. And it doesn't mean that everything turns out perfect or
Yeah.
anything like that, right? But to me, that's foresight,
Yeah.
right? I'm gonna surrender to that little tiny voice. Now I'm not perfect at it either, trust me, but I'm better at it than I used to be when I was
Right.
younger. And I think the advantage that you have is learning it at a much younger age so that it becomes more second nature to listen to it when that voice
Right.
comes in and to be able to listen to the tiny voice, right?
Right.
Because it talks in degrees a little bit, maybe,
Yeah.
but I don't need to be hit in the head with a 2x4 that's like,
Yeah.
fucking listen, or, like whatever it is, right?
Right.
I think that I'm starting to learn at a much whisper now
Okay.
instead of like a big, like, you fucked up. We
Yeah.
told you and you didn't listen, right? Like that kind of thing. My Saturn was really hard.
My Saturn's also hard in other ways too because I've been having like body dysmorphia.
Okay.
He had told me because it's in my first house, so it's
Okay.
like image and stuff like that. So I've definitely been working on the gym again and looking better, but I just feel like it's really learning to love my body that I
Okay.
have now. And then when you told me, because I told you, and you're like, you came here with the body to learn and live the life that and lessons that you need to in this life. So I really took that into account. And every time I start to feel that way, I start telling myself that I'm like, I came here to looking like this because I have to learn certain things in this life this way. And then
And you're beautiful and your body's beautiful.
it's just hard because I feel like social media is just
Ah,
so much
that's
that's
a
just
whole nother topic,
yeah,
dude.
but
Social
yeah.
media. It's not an accurate reflection of true life. You know what I mean? We can see pictures of people's houses or whatever. We don't see their garbage. We see what they want us to see. You know what I'm saying? And that's the hard thing because we're automatically in that space where, oh, their life must be so much
Yeah.
better. You know what I'm saying? And that's a hard thing when you're being bombarded with it. And I think it's even maybe a little bit harder for young. You know me. I'm not great on social media all the time, and I do take maybe
Yeah.
longer breaks just because I need to detach from that and
Yeah.
realize, right? And be grateful for my life. So I'm curious about your self-talk with the influence of social media and everything else, all that cancer
Yeah.
energy that you have, because it can go both ways,
Yeah.
right? The double-edged sword. How is your self-love now versus say 3 or 4 years ago?
Ooh, 3 or 4 years ago, I was a negative Nancy.
Okay.
Negative, negative. If anyone told me anything, I believed it. That was who I was. That was what people saw me as, everyone saw me as. But now I don't feel that way. Just because I've been doing something that I saw on a TikTok that every day in the mirror, you wake up and tell yourself, I love myself. I love
Yes.
myself. I love myself. And then whenever I feel like, oh, I don't look good today, I'll be like, I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful. Like I just say it like randomly.
Mhm.
And then not only that, I feel like beauty is different for everybody.
That's right.
So I could be like a two to that guy and I'm a 10 to that one, or you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
like I also know that it's the physical is gonna go away.
Mhm.
It's really how you are as a person and how you treat other people because I've met some really hot guys or like very beautiful women and then they're really fucking mean or
Yeah.
just very bad people. Like they're not doing good things or like they're scamming or they're doing this and that. So like what does like me looking a certain way have to do with my worth? You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
it's hard. Obviously, I think everyone has days where they're not feeling confident or
Right.
the best, but that's kind of my meditation now. And I also have sticky notes on my mirror and it says, you are enough, you are beautiful, you are worthy. And it's just kind of like a reminder to myself. And then one says, be gentle, be kind. So I just have all those on my mirror right now.
Okay. To me, that marries both that Cancer energy and that Leo heart energy, right? Because it's
Yeah.
about you taking care of
Yeah.
yourself and making sure that your heart is filled up. Fill up your
Yeah.
cup, right? That's the Cancer energy. Fill up your cup before you give to others, but also making sure that your heart is tended to by yourself
Yeah.
before external sources. And I think you're like, I'm so proud of you because I see your growth. I've seen it over the years, and I'm really proud of the growth that you've done and the path that you're walking and the goals that you set for yourself and the grace that you're able to show yourself. That doesn't mean that we're really good at applying grace in every single
Yeah.
minute, right? Because sometimes that can be hard, having compassion for ourselves, telling ourselves it's okay to be human. It's really imperative that we do give ourselves grace
Yeah.
and compassion and talk kindly to ourselves and remind ourselves that we are worthy just because we exist, right? And I think to me, if I were to give a gift to a Leo, it would be, which happy birthday, by the way. It would be you're worthy by just you being here. You light up my life with just your presence.
Aw, why do you do that for? Thank you.
You're welcome. I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
She's been my fairy godmother.
Right? And
Yeah.
sometimes I do wear the ears.
Well, yeah, she's helped me a lot. So definitely 10 out of 10 for anybody who needs it. She will help you.
Thank you. With boundaries, though, right?
No, yeah.
Yeah, like
She has boundaries. I'm
yeah.
working on mine. She'll tell you, like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Like, nope, sorry. Not doing that. But yes. And Marybe's had, I want to say privilege, but maybe it's not always a privilege, right? To know other members of my family. So on a very personal level, Marybe seen me at different levels of my, like when I'm really mad and want to fight somebody, or when I'm just really compassionate and really in that. So she's seen the whole scope of me and she still loves me. So I appreciate that about you.
I love her too, though. She's seen me everywhere, good, bad. She's talked to me on the phone when I have not been in the best conditions. So I am thankful. I feel like that's the best gift that you could have is having someone who listens to you and doesn't tell you what you want to hear. They tell you what you need to hear. So even when I wanted something and I wanted her to tell me this, she'd be like, nope, that's not that's not gonna happen. I would be sad about it, but she would at least not sugarcoat it. And I feel like that's why I recommend her to so many people because she's very honest and genuine. You know what I'm saying? She does it because she loves doing it, not because she's gonna want you to come back to her every single time because she's telling you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to hear some messed up things and you need to change, and that's okay.
And I try,
Yeah.
right?
She's not mean.
I'm
I'm
not
just saying.
always diplomatic necessarily, right? But I'm not just going to blow sunshine and rainbows up people's asses for no reason. If there's a real reason to say, no, dude, you're in your spin, like let's take a step back and look at it from a different angle and from this perspective, right? But it's taken me a long time to get to where I'm at to be able to do that. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
used to let people dump and dump and dump and dump. And you're starting, right? You've noticed that now. The people that kind of almost want to exhaust your empathy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where they're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna tell you every sad story I've ever had and all my victimhood and all my wounds are coming out and this, and I want you to make me feel better. You know what I mean? And then you're just like, oh my God, you walk away going, I'm so drained from all
Yeah.
of that. You know what I mean? There's a time and a place, absolutely,
Yeah.
but it can't be a continuous thing where it's just, you know what I mean? People have to take responsibility for their own mindset as well and their thoughts and emotions so that they can put it into positive, proactive actions. I'll stop right now, but I could go.
No, I do want to add something though.
Okay.
I feel like a lot this whole time, like I've been telling a lot of people because they've came to me with like negative thoughts and stuff. I'll be like, you really are what you think. I'm like, your words are spells. So I've had to tell a couple people like, just change how you think because if you're always saying, oh, I hate my job or this and that, that's like literally your reality. You
Right.
could just be like, I appreciate this job. I'm gonna find better. I will find better. And
Right.
I feel like just changing your thoughts, the words you say, because your words are very powerful.
Yes.
So I
And
feel
we
like
don't realize that.
that they're spells.
Yeah.
That's what I say, that they're spells. So
Same.
yeah,
Same. Right. And I know people are like, well, yeah, but you're a witch. Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean it made it any less true when I didn't
yeah,
identify as that. You know what I mean? If I would continuously say, right, oh, Cheryl, you're a stupid fucking bitch, then that was the kind of energy that I was getting back. And I had to work really hard to change that self because that was my self.
yeah,
It was not good at all. And I'm not proud of that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I don't have a problem admitting it because it's true. And it took a lot of work, I will say, a lot of work to be able to change that mindset. And then for me to realize once I did, it started to help shift and open up new doors for new energy to come in. And I started to see things in a different way. And that's when things got more vast, right? Like even my gifts, things like that kind of started to become more and more and more. And we've talked about
yeah,
that, right? So, I'm a big firm believer in how we talk to ourselves, but then also at the same time, having grace and compassion for ourselves when we are on that other edge of the sword because we are human and we came here to be human. You know what I mean? We came here to experience it and experience it in all its flavors and colors and depths and lows and highs and everything else. There's always going to be peaks, there's always going to be valleys. And I just think it's about finding the people that help encourage and inspire and lift you up so that you can find it within yourself to be able to inspire and but then still encourage and support each other, right? One of the most beautiful things, you gave me a beautiful, beautiful gift today when you said that you would always support me. And my heart was just so full by that because I knew that that was a heartfelt
mm,
message.
Yeah.
And it's rare to have people in your life that really encourage and support no matter what. So I say that in return, that I love and support you no matter what.
Me too.
I won't make you tear up anymore, I promise. I won't get all sappy. I can be.
I'm super emotional. Cancer, that's so cancer.
And Jupiter's in Cancer right now.
Yeah.
So have you felt it? The expansion of like that Cancer energy since when Jupiter, I think Jupiter moved into Cancer, I want to say sometime last month
Yeah.
in July.
I've been feeling it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Random emotional or like
Yes.
extra lovey-dovey with soul and just like super like, oh, I just want her. So yeah, I have. And
That
she has a
mom and that home energy and
yeah.
all that. Yeah.
She has like her cancer moon too.
Yes.
So that Aquarius rising, she's gonna be weird. You said that.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
I love her. She is
Yeah.
different though.
But she's also going to require a level of freedom, right? That Aquarius rising. One of my daughters is an Aquarius rising.
Yeah.
And when she was a teenager, I wish I would have known astrology then because maybe it would have helped me parent her a little bit more mindfully,
Yeah.
you know. But as a Capricorn sun, somebody wants that much freedom as a teenager. I'm like, there's rules that you have to live by. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like I might struggle then because I feel like I want so like when I see her getting older, I see us like together all the time and like doing all this stuff together.
Mhm.
So I feel like I'll definitely have to prepare because I know that I rebelled because my mom didn't used to let me do anything. So I rebelled for a couple years in high school, I think like 14 to 15. So I was out doing whatever I wanted. I would just craziness. Just the stories are story, but there's just like so many stories. But for sure, I think I'm gonna have to like learn to be okay with her doing stuff because I
Yeah.
feel like I just want her at home, and I think that's the Cancer. I don't think that's the Leo.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think that's the Cancer too.
Yeah.
But you always have that Saturn and Aries to fall back on to remind you that independence is a gift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that freedom that she's going to require or want, right? Um, it is something that you're going to have to help her navigate and still set boundaries, right? Um, because you're still the parent, but still allow her to experience. So she might be the teenager that kind of maybe wants purple hair instead of the color that she was born with, you know, and
That's gonna be rough.
yeah, see, I knew it. I knew it as soon as I saw your face. So no, soul won't be like that. But that'll be the weird thing that comes out, right? When she either wants to get her nose pierced or her eyebrow pierced or whatever they do when she's a teenager, because who knows what that'll even be, right? Some kind of different thing. Prepare now to be able to support letting her freak flag fly in a way that is still within boundaries.
I don't know if I would let her dye her hair though. She has such a good hair color, it's gonna stay like that.
I know,
Why would she do that?
because she needs to experience that freedom and the sense of I'm not like other people. I want to be different. I want to, she doesn't want to stand out necessarily like Leos do, right? But you have to remember that Aquarius is opposite Leo. So she has a little bit of that Leoness in a way that she wants to kind of do it her own way.
I hope she like dresses weird because I had an Aquarius best friend and she dressed like so different from
Hmm.
everyone else.
Hmm.
She would shop like at Goodwills and Savers and stuff, and she just had like the coolest like put together like outfits that no one has.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's like
Encourage that, right?
I'm like,
Encourage that. At least it's not permanent yet. She's going to need an outlet to experience her own freedom and in a way that makes her feel good about herself, but also makes her feel different and like she's unique. That's the embodiment, I would say, of it.
I'm so curious now.
I
What
mean,
is
like,
it gonna be?
fast forward, right?
No, she's going too fast.
I know. She's
Gonna be
she'll be
3 in
three.
December, yeah.
Yeah. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's been over 4 years that we've been friends now.
Yeah, I met you when I was pregnant.
before you were pregnant.
Before
Well, yes.
I was pregnant. I was saying I was pregnant, and then he's like, "Did you take a pregnancy test?" And I was like, "It said negative." She's like, "Your period's probably late," and I kept telling. I knew I was like, "No," and then she's like, "No, you're fine." I was like, "No, dude, I think I'm pregnant." And then I went back like a week later, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm pregnant." She was really supportive though. She's like, "If you don't want to have your kid, we can just say you had a miscarriage." She's like, "But I could never do that." And I'm like, I'm happy I have so. I'll just leave that there. Like I'm so happy. She's my little angel, one of my little angels. I think she was my sister in a past life though, for sure, or something. There's
Okay.
something there because the way she treats me sometimes and the way we interact, I'm like, girl, you are not acting like you're my kid. So I do feel like I've shared other lives with her. I don't know. I just feel it because when I was 11, I used to say I was gonna have a daughter named Soul.
I think 11 is a magical number for you. Do you ever feel like that?
That I was gonna have a daughter named Soul. I don't know. I would always say that.
I
And I
love
named her
that.
that. Yeah,
Okay.
I would say that all the time.
Okay. I do. I think 11 is a magical number for you. Do you have any other things that kind of correlate to that number besides your birthday?
When I used to play soccer, I always like to be 1 or 11 for
Okay.
sure. So I do like that numbers a lot. I was seeing 11 11 for a while, like 11 11 or 1 1 1. So I do feel like that is one of my numbers.
Okay.
And then obviously my birthday is August 11th, so 11. So I just feel like that and the number 8. So I feel like those two numbers are kind of my numbers.
Okay.
So
Very cool. Have you ever looked into numerology? Have you ever looked into like your life path number or
yes, my master number is so like you can have two numbers like the day. So I'm 11 just because my birthday's on the 11th, but my life path number is 8. But Soul's life path number is actually 11. I've looked it up, it's 11. And people that
that's not an accident, dude.
yeah, and people that I really tend to like fall for are also master number
11s.
11. Yeah,
Okay.
which is weird because we're not the worst compatibility, but I feel like there's definitely like correlation because there's a numerologist on TikTok that says that the day that you're born is also part of like your life path. So I'm
Mhm.
11 too. So I thought
Mhm.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think because to me, I see it very strongly
Yeah.
in a lot of the things that you talk about. And then I don't know when you were talking about being 11 and saying that is like, wow,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
She was almost born too. December, but they induced me, so she
Okay.
was born the day before. But yeah.
Can you imagine?
And then her time adds up to 11:407. Yeah, p.m. Yeah, she was born at 4:07 p.m. Yeah,
Okay.
that's weird, huh?
Yeah.
I just realized that I'm like she was born at 4:07 p.m. on a Saturday.
So
Yeah.
another very cool, dude. Very cool. Wow. Okay. I'm a little freaking out right now, just all the correlations and the synchronicities and stuff. Because we've talked about it before, right? How kids can absolutely be soulmates and come in to have an easier relationship than, say, another child who there's karma to work out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've had my fill of different kinds I have more than one child, right? So I've
Yeah.
had different kind of relationships with all of them. It's just very interesting to me. I feel that she's very much, I'm not saying that you guys won't have challenges and that there's not lessons there, right?
Mhm.
Because there always is. However, I don't feel like it's going to be really hard between you two. You know what I mean? I feel like it's going to be a little bit more softer in that you guys, that she's wanting part of your soul tribe,
Yeah.
you know, and you've
Hey,
been calling her in since you were 11, dude. That's
yeah.
amazing to me,
That's so crazy.
right?
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Is there any kind of advice that you would have for somebody, say, your age, who's just starting this spiritual journey? Maybe if they're just starting astrology or starting to learn about their own empath gifts, what kind of advice would you give to somebody?
I would for sure say to study all the signs and to know like your big three for sure, because I feel like it's just more than your sun sign. I also would say that if you're diving into spiritual stuff, that um, you really figure out what your gift is, how I guess, how you get your messages or what you know through, and kind of focus on your biggest strength and use that to your advantage and to listen to your intuition. I would also say to journal. I feel like journaling is really helpful. And just like more than anything, listen to yourself. I feel like when people first learn that they're gifted, they either don't believe it, think it's coincidence, or just are skeptical. I would say, like, really do your research and you'll realize that a lot of stuff is actually real and it is possible. So just don't doubt yourself. I would say have confidence. Even if people are telling you you're crazy or you have religious people in your family, like, don't stop listening to yourself because you could help someone who really needs it. And then more importantly, you could help yourself, which is at the end of the day, what we came here to do is to elevate ourselves. Oh, cute, but just really, really embrace it and don't doubt yourself.
I think that's beautiful. And I thank you today for sharing time with me. It's always fun and a pleasure to spend time with you. And I love seeing your beautiful, shiny
Thank
face. You're
you.
one of my favorite Leos. And with that, we will say goodbye and happy birthday, darling.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for this time. It means a lot to me.
Thank you.